وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك، أنت المقدم وأنت المؤخر وأنت على كل شيء قدير. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما واجعل التفرق بعده تفرقا معصوما ولا تدع فينا شقيا ولا محروما. اللهم آمين. In the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most compassionate, the most merciful, all praise and thanks are due to Him, and peace and blessings be upon His beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He who is guided by the will of Allah, no one can misguide him, and he who is misguided, no one can guide him except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We do bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is His messenger. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are still continuing. We have about 51 articles from the Madinah Charter. We are in the stage of after Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam reached the Madinah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He established the masjid. We had an idea about the message of the masjid, and he did the mu'akha, this kind of brotherhood between al-Ansar and al-Muhajirin, the immigrants and the helpers, Ansar and Muhajirin, this is the literal meaning. And we started talking about what is known in the legal language as the oldest constitution for a civil society in the history of human beings. That is known, which is called ميثاق المدينة, or the Charter of the Medina, or the Constitution of the Medina, or the Covenant of the Medina. So today we'll be dealing with article number 13. Please keep in your mind always, whenever we are highlighting some of these articles, that these articles were applied in a civil society more than 1400 years ago. This is very important, because sometimes maybe while we are mentioning something you say, but it's very normal, it's part of our life. You need to know that the people to enjoy doing what they are doing now in the West, for example, it took them, Jazakallah khair, thank you very much, Barakallah fik habibi, shukran, Allah yajzika khair. It took them hundreds of years of wars. Yani, you need to know the history. You need to know, for example, Western world in general, they had to go through a big challenge of obtaining their rights by fighting against the rulers and the dictatorship regimes in Europe. Secularism in France. Big fight between the masses, the people who were oppressed by kings and by the church as well. The European church, the Catholic church, they were cooperating historically against the people. So the French Revolution, it was a big revolution against this political regime and against many people of the church as well. So this about 230 years ago. And they fought a lot. Then they had a lot of things. Even our neighbors, for example, the Americans, about 260 years now, more or less, they were not able to enjoy what they enjoy now, except with two big challenges. The challenge of independence against the British, who were the occupiers and the colonizers, and they had to fight them, and they shed blood and they lost part of their souls to get rid of the one who was controlling them. And the war between North and South, which is very well known, قال حرب الشمال والجنوب, very well known. The North, they want to free slaves. The South of America, they were refusing this in general, because slavery was the pillar actually of economy. So if you want to free slaves, basically as if you are telling us, stop having your economy, which means full collapse. Okay? So it was a big war. They killed thousands of them. So they did not start, Jazakumullah khair for the coffee. So none of those people started enjoying what we know now as human rights, civil rights, constitution. Even, because the best example for many people considered as the most powerful, well-known democratic state now is America. But in America, Why did they have the First Amendment, Second Amendment, Third Amendment? What is the when they did amendment for the Constitution, which is the basic of it, First Amendment, which means ta'dil, you see, which means it did not exist. So they did amendments so that to protect their people, against the state itself. What is freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of religion? Do you know what does this mean? So we are talking about the most powerful democratic states. Just a few decades, they had to fight, then to agree to give the people the freedom of religion. Now, when you compare it with what we are talking about, when Prophet Muhammad 1400 years ago, he went to Al-Madinah, they used to have now the majority, having the power, the political power, the military power, yet they have a constitution to protect the people of the Dhimma, who were fully protected. And the people of the Dhimma, in specific, they were Jews and Christians. So you need to understand in this context. If you don't know the history, you might not feel, because now many people, they are enjoying a lot of human rights. Now anyone can criticize Donald Trump or Biden, anyone can criticize Trudeau, which is for us, wow, because some Arab countries, if you criticize the ruler, may Allah be with your soul, you will disappear in minutes. No one will know whether you are alive or not, because simply you will be as if you did not exist. No one will sue you by a court, you will disappear. So comparing with what we see now, anyone can criticize Trudeau, for example. We will say it what? As a really big thing. This is human rights. Okay, you need to be proud as a Muslim, not as an Arab. I'm not talking about Arabs, I'm talking about Muslims. 1500 years ago, it was simple, basic pillar article of the covenant of the Medina. So if you know this will give you amazing, powerful, let's say, tool to communicate with good people in this day. When you tell them about your Islam, okay, tell them, by the way, we are not just spiritual sect of people. No. We have a system for life. We are rooted in the history. We are the completion of prophethood and messengers. We are the continuation of the will of Allah. To a degree, we are a system of life. Political system, ethical system, family system. We have regulation for everything. To a degree, 1500 years ago, we used to have what you know now as a human right. We were enjoying it 1500 years. Got my point? You need to understand in this context. With this, you will be very, very powerful. You have knowledge. And by the way, you will benefit human beings. Because the worst enemy for any human is ignorance, jahl. And the best power, weapon to protect yourself is ilm. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Al-Hakim, the most wise, what was the first ayah in the Quran? Iqra, read. Which means the first step to ilm, to knowledge. Read. Iqra. He did not say u'bud. He did not say worship. It was not for Muhammad. Oh Muhammad, worship. Okay, worship who? No. Iqra. It was not prostrate, usjud. No. Because no one will be able to prostrate or to apply ibadah, which is worship, if you don't understand. When you have a knowledge, you will be a very active, excellent, powerful human citizen on earth. You as a Muslim. You need to be proud of this. Last time we covered the concept of Ahlul Dhimma, the protected people in the context. Today we will be covering something really very interesting. Many people, they don't know. Now, قال الأمن الاجتماعي وضمان الديات. Now, the social security and the money that is paid when someone is killed. The blood money is called, which is, we are talking about the penalty law now, which are talking about when someone kills someone else. It's part of the human phenomena. Wherever you go, we have some people, they kill some people by mistake, by intention, by being late, but people are being killed. Okay, how we will deal as a state with this? It's not just wishful thinking. We are not just spiritually group of people. No, it's a practical, okay, system. Someone was arguing, by mistake he killed him. Okay, what shall I do? What will happen? Depending on what? Look what Prophet Muhammad ﷺ puts. قال وإنه من اعتبق مؤمنا قتلا عن بينة فإنه قود به إلا أن يرضى ولي المقتول بالعقل. Now, the meaning, if someone killed someone else without a valid reason, because anyone knows it's not just the Islamic phenomena, regulation, it's the human phenomena. Sometimes you have the right to kill, defending yourself, which is a human phenomenon. Someone is attacking you, you want to protect yourself. While protecting yourself from being killed, you have to stop him, which is actually what soldiers are doing in wars. When the Germans, they were fighting the French people, did they have the human common sense right to fight back or not? Did the Americans and Russians fight German or not? Did they kill them hundreds of thousands, which is a common human phenomenon anyway? So sometimes people, they agree upon that we have what we call valid reasons to kill someone. Someone who killed someone else, someone who's attacking yourself, your honor, your etc. So if someone killed someone else without قال من غير شيء يوجب قتله, without an acceptable valid reason, which has details, okay, such as defending yourself from being killed or defending your honor. The word honor for us means your family, your wife, your daughter, your kids. Someone is about to kidnap them or to attack them or to kill them while trying to protect, you had to stop him or whatever. Here we have some kind of valid reasons that is not considered killing for any reason. Anyway, if someone killed without, قال فإنه قود. قود means قصاص. We have now specific terminology you need to know in Islam, because we have a great system of putting the rights and duties, and we as Muslims, we don't just speak about rights. We have duties as well. It's not just my rights. Okay, what about your duties? And this is one of the problems of some parts of the world, that they keep talking about rights, but how many times they talk about duties? My rights. But what about your parents? What about your duties towards your parents? Their rights. Women's rights. But men's rights. Okay, women, they have rights. But men, don't they have rights? Are not they human beings? This is the justice of Islam. So he talks about rights and duties in the same time. You have a rights from your parents and you have a duties. You have to respect them. You have to be polite with them. You have to discipline yourself with them. It's not just to have your right. You have duties. Where is the balance? Anyway, so now, as long as this is mentioned, which is al-qawad. Al-qawad means al-qasas. In specific, it talks about when someone kills someone else without a valid reason. What will happen? To explain this to you, I decided to enlarge the area to explain to you the concept of hudud, qasas, ta'zir, which is part of what we call the penalty law, qanun al-uqubat in general, the penalty law in Islam. In Islam, as a well-organized system for living, we have three main areas of punishments. Area number one called hudud. Hudud literally means limits. As a terminology means prescribed, punishments. Something has been determined by Allah directly for a specific things, a specific penalty or fines or uquba or punishment. No one has the right to interfere in this. Such as hudud. Okay? Limits prescribed, معين, محدد, 100%. Such as, for example, drinking alcohol or committing the zina, the adultery, or the had, it's called حد السرقة, حد القذف, حد شرب الخمر or something. We have special terminology. An example. Now, according to some opinions, there might be 7 or 8. The most famous of them, Shabab, please, can you, I lose my concentration when you keep talking, please. It's no problem. You can sit behind the glasses. You can keep talking because I just lose my control. Please, Jazakumullah khair. Barakallah fikum. Now al-had, limits such as had al-sariqah. There's a prescribed punishment for someone who commits, a theft. No one has the right to interfere, as Allah decided. طيب. Had al-zina, prescribed punishment for someone who committed adultery or fornication. No one has the right to interfere at all. If someone did it and it was approved and he was convicted, 100%, he will be punished by a specific punishment. No one has the right to interfere. For example, if you are a single and you committed the zina, you will be lashed 100 lashes on your back. For example. طيب, حد القذف. We have a special terminology. Now, al-qadhf, it's a prescribed punishment when it's similar to what we call about defamation and slander. Now, like tashhir, but in a specific when we speak about the reputation and the honor of someone in the Islamic terminology, like, wal'iyadu billah, God forbid, like when you say that this person committed zina, you are accusing him of what? Committing a major sin in a specific something has to do with sexuality, with his honor, with his reputation, because it destroys the reputation in the Muslim society. Because someone who commits adultery will be, his image is considered what? So if you said this person is such and such, if you can't bring 4 people to witness, an eyewitness, while he was committing the zina itself, you will be lashed on your back 100 times. This is called Haddul Qadhf. And no one has the right to interfere or to reduce it or to change the number or anyone, not even the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is Hadd called. I'm giving an idea. This is part of the penalty law, which means your reputation is completely protected now. Look how now in the political sphere in general, when they want to destroy a politician, a clean politician, who is not corrupted, what they do, mainly, what they do. What's the best way to destroy him in hours? What's the best way? A woman will come to the media and say, sexually I was harassed 26 years ago, 58 years ago, 800 years ago. This is what happens. Does this happen or not? And everyone will start what? Sympathize with her and saying bad words against him, and will be collapse. What? Does this happen or not? Always. Especially with many politicians, especially when you have a very good, clean, non-corrupted politicians. A woman comes out of nowhere. And khalas, by default, the media, in Islam this is prohibited. If there is no proof, she will be punished. You have no right just to claim. No evidence to prove it. Keep silent. It's called Hadd al-Qadhf. She will be punished. Subhanallah, it's very easy. The media, the people, when they fight against each other, they use it easily. Easily they use it. They destroy their reputation for 10 years to come. No one will look at him. Even his wife and his... But I did nothing. She claimed, she cried, And the media will start enlarging. This is completely haram in Islam. The one who accuses someone, he or she, by the way, if you speak about he or she, and if the person who is speaking, he or she, they will be lashed. Wow. What kind of protection for your reputation is this? This is hadd. That's why everyone feels safe. You will not be destroyed just because someone can use the media against you. No, it's had. It's a prescribed term. If someone claims no proof, you will be lashed, which means keep silent. Either you prove it or keep silent. My reputation is not part of your game. Whenever you want just to bring me down, okay? خلاص يعني you just pay money for anyone, she will come to the media and say he did such and such. حبيبي, I'm finished. لا. If Islam is applied, this is not acceptable. I'm just giving you an idea about the had. How? Why Allah decided to make it. Now, had, which is prescribed punishment, one of its by default definitions that no one has the right to interfere in it, and it cannot be changed. Number two, we have qisas. Qisas is the special punishment or penalty for anything has to do with the body of the human beings. Starting from the top, God forbid, by killing someone, going down to any kind of injury to the body. Losing an organ, causing blindness, having a cut in my hand, in my finger, any kind of damage in the body, with the top of damage, which is, wal'iyadu billah, killing someone, it is an area of qasas. The amazing, powerful Islamic rulings, because it's very severe. Because if you are a multimillionaire, if you know that if you pay the money for someone to let someone lose his part of his body to take revenge of him, and they will fine you by 500,000, who cares? 1 million, who cares? But if you know, if you caused him to lose his hand and you will lose your hand, because my hand is much more valuable than billions, so I will stop doing it because it's very valuable. This is Islam. Islam guarantees that no one will transgress. Got my point? So this is the qasas. Starting from the top, which is killing, and if someone kills someone else, he will be killed. Period. If this is applicable, how many murder and crimes will be stopped? Wallahi, hundreds of thousands. One of the psychological reasons why people, they take killing others easy, because they know simply they will go to jail. And for some of them, because he's a homeless person, he's not even able to find a job. He wants to take revenge of someone for whatever reason. Okay, he knows that if he killed him, the worst of what he will do, he will be sitting in a jail, having food, shelter, eating, and he might be discharged maybe 20 years ago. Okay, no problem. But if he knew that he will be killed, no. He will count to 1 million. So we can save human souls by hundreds of thousands if Islam is applied in this. If you kill, you will be killed. Period. Regardless. You are old, you are rich, you are clever, you have a professorship, you are poor, we don't care. If you kill, you will be killed. Period. So, you will not kill easily. If anyone who holds a machine gun and does the mass shooting, for whatever reason, he knows he will be killed, people, they will think not twice, hundreds of times. So this is called what? Qasas. So we have hudud, limits, prescribed, and we have qasas. And by the way, what I'm talking about has nothing to do with individuals, it's for the state. I'm talking about the law of the state, when you have a state that's using a big law. So, and it has a lot of details inside it, like the courts system. Now, if you commit a crime now, here in Canada or in America, you have a long chain of, regulations. In penalty law, it depends on, I'm not discussing the tiny details now, I'm giving the general idea, which was applied for 1,500 years ago. Now the third one, which gives you the beauty and the power of Islam, it's called the ta'zir. This is the third area. The first one is hudud, prescribed, determined. Second one, qasas, specifically just the area of the human body from killing and down. The third one is called ta'zir. Ta'zir is a very specific Islamic terminology. It means any crime, any offense, any bad thing that has been done and it's not part of the hudud or the qasas, which could be hundreds of things. It does not have a prescribed punishment and it has nothing to do with the body. This is called ta'zir. This is an open penalty law, depends on the circumstances, and it's up to the judge and the court and the state to decide what could be the punishment. الله يجزيك الخير يكرمك يبارك فيك إن شاء الله. شكرا. شكرا جزيلا. جزاكم الله خيرا. Like for example, money laundering. For example, okay, money laundering is not part of the qisas and it's not part of the hudud. What shall we do with someone who does this? It's up to the state to decide what kind of punishment. It could be jail, it could be the fine, it could be jail for it could be whatever. It's an open area to decide. But what about bribe? Paying a bribe. What about the drugs? Human trafficking. We have tens of them. They are not prescribed and they are not directly to the body. So we have a long chain of things. It's up because you will decide the harm depending on the context. Depending on if you are an area where the bribe, for example, is destroying the government completely. Maybe you will take a decision to you want to, for example, to fix the corruption. You will put a very big punishment to try to control it. If the bribe is in a very low minimum level and a very mild, okay, and people in general they are not suffering from it, maybe you will put some kind of reasonable punishment for it. So Islam is not saying anyone who pays a bribe should be XYZ. No, he say you decide. See to what level the harm is destroying the society and to what level the phenomena is spread or minimum or control or not control. So it's up to you. Now, in light of this, we understand, I explained to you this this article in the human charter of the Medina, من اعتبط مؤمنا قتل عن بينة فإنه قود, which is part just to have an idea. Now, to fix this concept, just to remind you what we have the Quran about this important thing, which is preserving the human souls. And we are proud, by the way. I remind you, if you want to go and read what used to happen on earth at that time, in the Roman Empire, Persian Empire, in Africa, in India, what used to happen between the people when they kill each other. For example, let's discuss Arabic culture, not Muslims. I'm talking about Arabs now. Arabs in general, when someone kills someone else, they have the concept of revenge, ثأر والانتقام. Sometimes if someone kills someone from another tribe, part of the system of revenge, they don't kill the one who killed. They go to the best person in the tribe of the killer, the murderer, and they kill him. What? What's the matter? They want to make the harm not just to the person, to the whole tribe. But this is injustice. If I killed someone, I deserve to be killed. Why did you decide to kill my cousin? And sometimes, some Arabic thinking before Islam, for example, I made a mistake and I killed someone. Their revenge, they take a decision to kill at least 10. I am one of them. Why the extra 9? This is the system. This is injustice. We will show you that no one come to us. And what is the counter step? You kill 10, we will kill what? 100. You kill 100, we will kill. So it's endless. Because injustice. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَكُمْ فِي الْقِصَاصِ حَيَاتٌ يَا أُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. in the punishment of killing the murderer, you have haya. You know, as if you will begin life by killing the murderer. Because once the murderer has been killed, everyone will settle down. Khalas. You killed my brother, so the state caught you, killed you, stopped. You know, the series of shedding blood will stop. Because khalas, someone killed my father. The state captured him, convicted him, killed him. Story is finished. I make dua for my father. But if it's open to me and the culture tells me do whatever satisfies you, if what satisfies me, maybe I will become crazy. Maybe I will kill 10. They will kill another 10, and we will kill. It's endless. By the way, and it happened because of this mentality before Islam. As an Arabs, I speak about our Arabs now. You heard about what we call dahis wal ghabra. Have you heard about dahis al ghabra? A war for 40 years between two big tribes in the Arabic Peninsula. 40 years of war, killing tens and tens and hundreds, because horse race, someone won against someone else. Dahis wal ghabra. They are the two names of the two horses. Okay? They were racing. So because someone won the race against the other, they became angry. They started fighting, a war for 40 years. No one knows how many were killed, because 40 years of killing. 40 years because horse race. In Islam, this is completely haram. Completely. That's why look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran. In the context of speaking about the children of Israel, they used to have the same regulations as we have. So Allah is telling us about what He prescribed upon them, and it's the same will be prescribed upon us. وَكَتَبْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ فِيهَا أَنَّ النَّفْسَ بِالنَّفْسِ وَالْعَيْنَ بِالْعَيْنِ وَالْأَنْفَ بِالْأَنْفِ وَالْأُذُنَ بِالْأُذُنِ وَالسِّنَّ بِالسِّنِّ وَالْجُرُوحَ قِصَاص فَمَنْ تَصَدَّقَ بِهِ فَهُوَ كَفَّارَةٌ لَهُ وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الظَّالِمُونَ. We ordained for them in the Torah a life for life, an eye for an eye, a nose for a nose, an ear for an ear, a tooth for a tooth, and for once equal retaliation. But whoever waives it charitably, which means if you decided to forgive, it's allowed to forgive. No one is forcing you to take revenge. You are allowed to forgive. We call it wali al-maqtul, for example, the guardian of the blood. It's a terminology, means if someone, for example, killed my son, I am called wali al-dam. I am the guardian of the blood. I have the right, if I want, to forgive. If I forgive, they will not kill him. But if I want to use my right, he's supposed to be killed. So Allah is encouraging, if you want to forgive, and you will have a great ajr. But you're right that he should be killed. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, whoever waives it, you know, فَمَنْ تَصَدَّقَ, as if it's a charity. So waves it charitably, as if it's a charity, it will be atonement for them. Kafara, as if it will be deleting and, you know, demolishing from your own sins when you forgive. قال, and those who do not judge by what Allah has revealed are truly the wrongdoers. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about this example. Now, in another ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إنما جزاء الذين يحاربون الله ورسوله ويسعون في الأرض فسادا أن يقتلوا أو يصلبوا أو تقطع أيديهم وأرجلهم من خلاف أو ينفوا من الأرض ذلك لهم خزي في الدنيا ولهم في الآخرة عذاب عظيم. Look how great it is to preserve the blood of a human being, to preserve yourself not to be killed at any time. Because by the way, killing someone, it was like a human phenomena during the history of human life. Wherever you go, easily would be killed at any time. Anytime, as long as someone has the power, you could be killed. Your woman could be raped, kidnapped, wherever, because no one's controlling. No CCTV cameras, no police, no power, no enforcement of the law. No one cares with who's watching. So when Islam came, after fixing the roots of faith that Allah is watching and observing, and be careful, Allah al-Alim al-Basir. In addition to that, He's telling you, if you do, the Jahannam, the hellfire is waiting for you. And if it happened, you will be killed. So be careful. So you put a lot of great things so that people will live really in peace. Because one of the great disasters in your life for yourself is to be killed. Or anyone from your family to be killed. How sad it is. Is it something easy to lose a beloved person because he was killed? Because of just silly fight, for example? Why you are looking at me? What do you think? Hey, what do you think? Hey, you, hey. Someone is dead. What? If you know the one who started the fight, that if you killed someone, you will be killed, wallahi, they will count to 1 million. Am I exaggerating or not? It's when the law. Now, here in this country, when the law is very, very tough and strong against some certain things, how many times the people they think before mentioning this thing? We have many things the people they are afraid to talk about. True or false? True or false? You know what I mean. Do you dare in public to speak about a specific group of people? You can't. Why? Because the law is very strict against you. Because you know that may God be with your soul. You will go to jail. So therefore, you say, let's respect myself and keep my mouth shut. But why? Because there is a punishment. There is a punishment. Because of the punishment. If there is no punishment, for the sake of freedom of speech, many people, they violate many rights. Because of the punishment, the people, they count to 10 before violating the rights of others. True or false? I'm not speaking about religious state. I'm speaking about secular state now. Is this true or not? In many cases, you don't dare, I don't dare to discuss many things in public because of the law. True or false? So the same thing in Islam. What is more sacred than the life of the human beings? Just to be safe, not to be killed. 1400 years ago, when a man easily could be killed for no reason and no one can do anything. طيب. Look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. Indeed, the penalty for those who wage war against Allah and His Messenger and spread mischief in the land is death, crucifixion, cutting off their hands and feet on opposite sides, or exile from the land. This penalty is a disgrace for them in this world, and they will suffer a tremendous punishment in the hereafter. This is in the Quran. Look in the footnotes from the translation of Dr. Mustafa Khattab. In the footnotes they say, just to explain, this ruling called Hiraba. We are speaking about Hiraba. Those people who stand in the middle of the road and they attack you, they rob you, they kill you, they kidnap your kids, they rape your wife, and they kill part of you, they take money. This is called what? Hiraba. It's not just a theft. No. It's called قطع الطريق. شو اسمه بالإنجليزي قطع الطريق؟ waylay, I think. قطع الطريق. قطع الطريق. I think they call it waylay. I think, which means when someone stops you in the middle of the road, attack you, kills some of the group, for example, kills, it's called hiraba and qata' tariq. Anyway, now they say this ruling called hiraba applies to crimes committed by armed individuals or groups against civilians. This is the definition. Hiraba means crimes committed by armed individuals or groups against civilians, like terrorists now. When you say this is an act of terrorism, what did they do for them? They bomb them with aeroplanes. They say boom, 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 because they are what? Terrorists. And even when they want to kill terrorists, they kill sometimes civilians with them. They call, okay, we can't avoid because we want to get rid of terrorists. Now, in our terminology, this is called hiraba. Hiraba means crimes committed by armed individuals or groups against civilians, Muslims or non-Muslims. Different punishments apply depending on the severity of the crime. They give the details. In the case of murder or rape, offenders are to be executed. If they killed or raped, they should be executed. Type. If in the case of armed robbery, offenders' right hands and left feet are to be cut off. In the case of terrorizing innocent people, offenders are to be jailed in exile. Penalties for lesser offenses are left for the judge to decide. So it depends on the level of the crime. So it's details, the idea. I will finish with this. The idea, I gave you an idea about the rulings that came in the Quran as details, and it came in the Sunnah, and it was applied. The core point, all of this great system, it was represented in the covenant of the Medina, that if someone, any civil person who's living in this society, Muslim, non-Muslim, for you or against you, if a Muslim kills a non-Muslim, if a non-Muslim kills a Muslim, if a Muslim kills a Muslim, generally now no one has the right to shed the blood of anyone except with a justification such as someone has killed, and it's not your right to do it by yourself. Yani, in Islam, if someone killed your brother, he deserves to be killed, but it's not your right to do it by your hand. The state should do it, not you. Because if you open this, what will happen? You don't know who kills who, and no one can prove what. That's why you need the power of the government or the state to take care of this, because they will investigate, which is what we do now. But 1400 years ago, when, as I told you, just recently, many people on earth, they reached to this settlement. They reached to this kind of organized law and courts. We Muslims used to apply this very just, fair way of applying the penalty law 1400 years ago against Muslims and non-Muslims. This is the power of Islam. While many other countries, when did they get rid of racism? We have religious racism and we have ethnic racism. Even one of the best and most powerful countries, and they are proud in human rights. When did they get rid of, officially, not socially, from racism? When? The question should be, did they get rid of racism, Aslan? Yes?
1870.
In theory, طبعا. Yes. Many people, they are still fighting. You need to know this contest. Jazakumullah khairan. This is just from one article, which is number 13. وإنه من اعتبط مؤمنا قتلا عن بينة فإنه قود إلا أن يرضى ولي المقتول. If someone killed someone else without a justifiable reason, he should be killed unless if the guardian of the blood forgives. Wow. 1400 years ago. And no one will interfere, and everyone will be satisfied when you apply justice. Wallahu a'lam. Now, we have another article. I will give you just an idea about it, and we will continue it next time, inshallah, bi'idhnillah. Now, this is called what we call al-marji'iyya fil hukm ila al-sharia al-islamiyya, the reference point. Now, it is said, number 14 and 15, وإنكم مهما اختلفتم فيه من شيء فإن مرده إلى الله عز وجل وإلى محمد وإنه ما كان بين أهل هذه الصحيفة من حدث أو اشتجار يخاف فساده فإن مرده إلى الله وإلى محمد رسول الله وإن الله على أتقى ما في هذه الصحيفة وأبره. The idea, it's in a very classical, rhetorical Arabic language. The idea, when we put the law, we put regulations, we put rulings. طبعا an incident happens, we dispute. The big reference in the constitution is Islamic Sharia. It's like in our terminology now, when they have a dispute in X, Y, Z case in the courts, they go back to the constitution. depending. And that's why we have what we call what? Constitutional what? Court. Because sometimes there is something not clear, not mentioned, not specified. So they have dispute. You have level 1 courts, level 2, they have dispute. They say yes, no. Judge, you say wait. We go to the constitutional court. We go back to the big reference. Okay? Which is the dispute, this is the reference. You can't have just whoever does whatever he or she would like to do. You will solve nothing. And this is applicable even in secular and liberal states, which is you reference back to the constitution. And it depends. For example, if you are in China, what is the core point of the constitution? Do you know what is it? Communism. Because it's based on the idea of what? Communism, Shia. True or false? True or false? Type. When you come to the Western countries, what is the ideological core point of the constitution? Democracy. And by the way, democracy does not have just one version, because it's the same thing. It's because the way how people understand democracy in France is not exactly as they understand it in America or in the UK. By the way, they don't have the same political law. They don't have the same ways of penalties or punishment. They don't have the same. So they differ in how they understand, how they apply it, how whatever. But at the end, when you go to the British, they go to their own constitutional system. When you go to France, the understanding for democracy, they apply it as the big reference points. The same thing, Muslims, when they have their own political power, if a dispute happens for whatever reason, the big reference point is Islam. It's very simple. It's very simple. Because a secular state now, even though they are proud that they welcome everyone, but if there is a severe dispute and they go to the court, they go to the big idea of democracy and secularism, because this is at the end their reference point. Is this true or not? The same thing Muslims used to do after putting this kind of just laws. Now, this point, the idea of reference law, it is connected, and we have to do some kind of a comparison between the idea of secularism, liberalism, religious way of understanding compared with the concept of tawheed and all of these terms. I will do it inshallah next time bi'idhnillah, by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. By this, we have covered just 13 or 14 out of 51 article of the Medina Charter. Just to keep enjoying, understanding the context of the establishment of a state of Islam as a well-organized political system that rules and organizes the lives of the people in the state at that time. Jazakumullah khairan. Barakallah fikum. See you inshallah tomorrow in the tafsir if you wish, or next week inshallah in the seerah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.